In a world gripped by trade wars and shifting allegiances, two of the globe's biggest powers prepare for a face-off not on the battlefield, but across the negotiating table. This week, EU leaders head to Beijing. Old promises collide with new realities. As Europe and China lock horns in a summit where smiles may hide sharpened agendas. Is it diplomacy or quiet confrontation? The President of the European Council, António Costa, and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen will travel to China on July 24th, marking a significant moment in EU-China relations. The visit, confirmed by Beijing's Foreign Ministry, coincides with the 25th China-EU summit and the 50th anniversary of diplomatic ties between the two sides. Chinese President Xi Jinping is expected to meet the EU leaders during their visit, while Premier Li Qiang will co-chair the summit alongside Costa and von der Leyen. The engagement comes at a time of heightened global trade friction, with China seeking to stabilize ties with Brussels amid its own worsening relationship with Washington. Although framed as a moment of celebration, the summit arrives under the shadow of growing trade disputes. Relations between the EU and China deteriorated sharply in 2021 following EU sanctions against Chinese officials over alleged human rights abuses in Xinjiang, a move that prompted swift retaliatory measures from Beijing. Recent months have seen fresh confrontations over issues such as Chinese electric vehicles, European brandy and pork exports, medical device procurement, and rare earth supply chains. Analysts say the upcoming talks are unlikely to yield any major breakthroughs. China's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Guo Jiakun acknowledged the strained dynamic, but described the relationship as mature and stable, insisting it is capable of withstanding changing difficulties and challenges. For her part, Ursula von der Leyen has made no secret of her concerns. In a recent speech, she praised China's economic achievements, but accused Beijing of flooding global markets with cheap, subsidized goods, while limiting access to its own domestic markets. She also took aim at China's de facto support of Russia's war economy, further souring the diplomatic atmosphere ahead of the summit. The EU continues to refer to China as a partner for cooperation, an economic competitor, and a systemic rival, a label that captures the bloc's growing ambivalence. While Brussels sees the need to re-engage, it is also under pressure to take a firmer line on Beijing's policies. Following new US tariffs announced by former President Donald Trump in April, von der Leyen reminded Premier Li during a call that both sides had a responsibility to support a strong, reformed trading system that is free, fair, and based on a level playing field. The EU faces additional challenges from within. While member states like Hungary have deepened ties with Beijing, courting Chinese investment and offering political support, others remain sharply critical. The bloc's internal divisions have complicated its collective approach to China, undermining its leverage. Speaking earlier this month at the World Peace Forum in Beijing, Italy's ambassador to China, Massimo Ambrosetti, voiced skepticism about the summit's potential.
It will be a wonderful summit with wonderful statements of principle, but I doubt we will see any strategic incremental progress.
Ambrosetti cited the Trump-era tariff landscape and ongoing US-China tensions as having cast a long shadow over Europe's own negotiating posture. Beyond economics, geopolitics also plays a role. The EU has repeatedly expressed frustration with China's ambiguous stance on Russia's invasion of Ukraine, further complicating the outlook for constructive dialogue. Despite these tensions, some limited cooperation could be on the table, particularly in renewable energy. With Europe lacking significant fossil fuel and nuclear capacity, it may depend on Chinese solar panels, batteries, wind turbines, and transmission technologies to meet its climate goals. One industry figure described the relationship as,
"Not a marriage made in heaven, but a marriage nonetheless."
Even Even the format of the summit reflects the imbalance. Though it was the EU's turn to host, the event will take place in Beijing, and not over 2 days as previously scheduled, but just one. European officials have already tamped down expectations for any tangible progress. China, for its part, appears emboldened. It has retaliated forcefully to EU restrictions, doubled down on ties with Russia, and increasingly signaled that it sees a fragmented West as an opportunity to press its advantage. As Xi Jinping prepares to meet his European counterparts this Thursday, the diplomatic choreography will be carefully managed. But beneath the photo ops and joint statements, deep divisions remain. In a world shaped by shifting alliances and economic rivalries, EU-China ties look set to remain frosty, at least for now.